the dark side.
Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel, and here we go. We're going to be doing our chapter 3 of Buried in Interactive Story today, and it's getting rather good, I might say, and I hope you agree. Alright, so here we go. I remember last we left off the elevator and we were going down further, so looking for a first aid kit for Dennis. And if you all can remember from my last video, if you haven't watched it, part 1 and 2 are out there. But let's get right in this. Begin chapter 3. These graphics are very, very nice, I must say again. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screens, some of which are obviously coming back on from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated, from screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system. It reminds me of a miniaturized version of the operations center in just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently looking for some pertinent bit of information. "Where's the first aid kit?" I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks as if he has forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. "Oh yeah," he says, rushing to the left side of the room. There he hunkers down by an open panel in the wall, what I assume is the emergency vault from where he got the rifle. So, we either can look at the computer monitors, or we can peer into the open vault. So if the monitors are some kind of security system, possibly, it could possibly show one of these creatures, monsters, aliens, whatever's going on down here, I'm assuming. But if we peer into the open vault, this is another decision, but since his back is turned to me, he's going to look into the vault. I'm going to take a look at the monitors. I can make sense of very little that I see. Mostly numbers, odd-looking maps, and charts. Altogether, they show what I assume is the working, beating heart of the peculiar facility Dennis and I have stumbled into. Aside from the charts, there are scrolling numbers running along the bottom of the screen. Some are temperature readings, but that's all I can tell for sure. I see one screen in particular that I would assume would mean bad news for anyone using those monitors for work. Failure. Trial 142B aborted. Error 4532-5. Danger. Anomaly detected. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to motion Dennis over, he's paler than ever. "Come on," I tell him, but he's not moving from the place on the floor where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over to him and go scrambling to his side. Between the struggle for the rifle upstairs and arriving in this room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up and then over his shoulders as the dried blood holds it in place. Ugh. The mere act causes him to grimace. "This might hurt a little," I tell Dennis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. Dennis is I don't know, but he's a tough guy. I remember, I think they said earlier in the story, Dennis was built like a wrestler. So, I mean... Alright, so... We're gonna go with... Is this like ripping off a band-aid? I don't think it would be. I think that it might cause damage to really rip it off quickly. I don't know. Oh boy. Poor Dennis. I've caused him so much pain. Oh well. Pull shirt off gently. I lift the shirt off gently and it makes a sucking sound. There's so much blood that the moisture tries to keep the shirt pulled to him. Dennis lets out a little moan, but seems to relax, in spite of his injuries. With the shirt fully removed, the extent of his injuries becomes more clear. His wound is more visible now, although it's particularly hidden by the blood that has started to clot around it. My medical knowledge is slim. Basically just a bunch of basics I learned in Boy Scouts. I look over to Marcus, hopefully, and ask, "You have any training?" "Zero," he says. "Sorry." It's just as well, I guess. He's far too concerned with what's happening on the monitors to be of much help anyway. I start by taking out the several rolls of gauze within the kit and wipe as much blood as I can away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I had figured from the start. The gash is deep and dark. I'm pretty sure it's infected too. He's going to need stitches, that's for sure, but I have no idea how to even start that. Besides, I don't see the tools for it in the kit. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, ouch, he responds with a hoarse yelp of surprise, but nothing more. His eyes are locked on me and he looks appreciative, but he's also scared. "Be honest," Dennis says hopefully. "How bad does it look? You think I'll live?" Well, you want to keep people's hopes up in this situation, I would think. Keep them fighting. So, you want to be honest, but I think it's good to say you'll be fine. It gives people assurance. You chose to comfort Dennis. "Good to know," he says, "because I sure don't feel like that. You've been through hell, heck, I say. I think it feels worse than it actually looks. Thanks, that's a relief. I won't lie, you're going to have a scar," I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humor in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as I finish up. I place one layer of gauze against the wound and bind it with medical tape. I then reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. "Thanks, Roger," he says, actually managing to force out a smile. "I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine." I'm not so sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. Finally, I patch up the bruises on my head a bit, cursing myself again for not grabbing my hard hat. I look back to Marcus and he is looking back at us, deep in thought. "Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility?" I ask him. "If there's something better, I don't know about it," he says. I notice then that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something is different now. Just a slight change to his demeanor. He's been something on those monitors that has He's seen something on those monitors that has him frightened more than he already was before. "What is it?" I ask. "What's wrong?" His eyes travel around the room, and it's obvious that he's trying to decide whether or not to tell me the truth. Okay, so this guy is a little weird, this Marcus guy, so who knows if he'll even tell us. I'm just going to get my butt up and look at them monitors. Rather than wait for him, I get up and scan the screens behind him, seeing if I can find any clues I had missed moments ago. After a few moments, I see a few things that even I can comprehend, hidden in the complex information on most of the screens. On one screen, I see what looks like a power meter that is slowly climbing upwards. Every single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure, foreign entity." Another message trickling along the bottom of a black screen says, "Safety locks on, level 3, containment doors engaged, override." I still see scenes on a few other screens that I assume are security cameras showing hallways and passages from elsewhere in the facility. One of them shows the first level hallway we were on just a few minutes ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize. The floor is covered in human blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think might be a human body, but it's bent in an impossible way. It looks like the body's legs and torso have somehow been merged or melted into the floor. What? What happened to that person there? I love how they put that. What's wrong with the systems? This is getting exciting. I just wonder which... Wish I had your guys' feedback live right now, but... Let's go with what happened to that person there. "I have no idea. I didn't see it," he says. "Whatever happened to that guy must have happened in the last minute or so." "What the heck?" I ask. "There's something still happening? Are we still in danger?" He turns away, clearly fearing he has already said too much. And as bad as that is, there's a scene on another monitor that makes my blood go cold, and my fear spiked to levels somewhere near terror. The scene is very familiar. It's the logging site. The equipment is unmistakably mine. I can even see my truck. Something like fury starts to rise up in my guts, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment I consider just tearing into him. A few punches and a shove against the wall, nothing more. I want answers, and I want them now, but I'm not sure which would provide more answers, asking calmly or kicking his ass. Well, we've kicked his ass pretty badly earlier, beat his face to a bloody pulp. His family's probably not going to recognize him anymore. I just don't know, though. We're kind of gaining his trust now a little bit. I maybe a tiny hair of his trust. So if I start beating the pulp out of this guy again, but sometimes that's the only way to get somebody to talk. You know what? Let's beat the pulp out of him. I figure since he's just an IT guy, I could probably intimidate him. I grab Mike Marcus by the collar of his shirt and point to the screen. "Why have you been spying on my crew?" I shout. "It was part of my job, mine and a few others. Your crew has been watched ever since you set up your equipment." "Why?" Marcus tries to draw up some anger of his own, but it isn't as toxic as mine. Still, I know there's a fight on my hands if I want one. "Because," he says, "your logging site was set up less than a mile away from the entrance to a highly classified government facility." How the heck was I supposed to know that? I scream at him. "Where are the signs and the guards?" Marcus gives me that same crooked, trembling smile that has been beginning to creep me out. "Because those things would draw attention to this place," he says. "You have no idea how secretive this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy about 300 yards. Every piece of your equipment is on private property. The timber track you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't have without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low-level clearance knows this much about my logging crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why didn't you recognize us when we met in the hallway?" I ask. He shakes his head and exhales, like it's obvious. The cameras have a bird's eye view. I can't see faces. We just track bodies and names. I'm gonna keep up with being aggressive. I don't see any point to going calm here, so where the heck is my crew? "Look," Marcus says, all of you were on site as usual before the incident. It had been a few hours since I had checked, though." I can tell he is starting to get rattled by this interrogation. He continues with his eyes fixed on the keyboard. "They might have come near the facility, or maybe not, I don't know. I'd tell you if I did, okay?" "Well, are they inside of the facility?" I shout. "You have cameras everywhere, right? Look for them." Marcus puts his hands up defensively. "I've been looking all over and I haven't seen your crew. But," he adds, "the lower levels don't have any cameras. Classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do they know everything about us?" "I'm telling you," Marcus said, "the depth of influence in this facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of those employees, only 5 other people know this place exists." "Keep up the aggressiveness, man." What the heck goes on here? He doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any further. He actually laughs when he gives me the answer. "I honestly don't know everything. Probably very little. But what I do know is that it is more than Black Ops." "What does that mean?" I ask. "There are scientists here who have been disowned by their own government because of the nature of their work. You get it now?" "I don't. Not at all. But I don't want him to know about that." "You said there are 36 employees," I say. "Where are they now?" He shakes his head. "As far as I know, everyone else is gone." "Gone where?" He points to the screen that still informs us of the unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Dennis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. Look, I say, furious with the way he is talking in riddles. I don't. Ah, Dennis says. I look over to him and he looks as pale as a ghost. He stood up and his eyes are locked on the monitor closest to him. What? I ask. He simply points to the monitor and looks away. I look to the monitor and see the logging site. But more specifically, I see the overturned dozer and Tony's crushed body several feet away from it, where I pulled him out. Tony. The fact of his death seems abstract, almost like it happened in some other world or a very long time ago. I know that you already told me he was gone, Dennis whispers, but it's different actually seeing him. Suddenly, something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fast in shadow, but I'm pretty sure it's a person. Someone else is here, Marcus says. Wheeling around, he sounds very happy to discover this, so I try to follow his lead. If something bad happened at this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good thing, right? We should check it out, he says. I realize this isn't the best moment to leave Dennis after revisiting Tony's death all over again. Someone just ran by the door, I tell him. Hopefully it's someone who can help us. Alright, so our concern is over Dennis now, I guess, so we'll be right back. And I have a feeling that Dennis won't be if we do. Or you're going to be okay. So I'm not sure. This is probably what I would do. I wouldn't go rushing out. I would probably have some concern, so I'm gonna go with you going to be okay. It's fine, go see who it is, he says, giving me a mock thumbs up. I turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out to investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they might not be as hesitant to shoot a stranger as I was. I nod at him as I head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand, and I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With a final look back to Dennis, I run out into the second level hallway. Here we go. Continue. Let's see what's going on. Excuse me. Marcus follows. There is still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We take off after the figure that just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away, I notice that this level of the facility seems darker, even though the lights are now all on. The hallway is adored with numbered yellow doorways and large white panels along the walls. It's clean and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead, I see the fleeting motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives a nod, and we continue chasing after the person that we saw blaze by the command center just moments ago. It then occurs to me that this person could be like Marcus was at first, armed and scared. Alright, so we can either shout at them, which I never think is a good idea, but moving towards them slowly and catching them by surprise could get somebody killed. But I just think that that's the smarter thing, is to move cautiously. So we're going to move towards them slowly. When we reach the intersection in the hall where I'd seen the shadow moving, I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have the rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've seen countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small, mousy build. She looks terrifying and is visibly shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat with dark jeans and green Converse low tops. Go Converse. I have a strange sense that her fear is not just about our sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for a while now. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's not holding a weapon. Marcos slowly approaches, taking a few steps ahead of me. "It's Amy, right?" he asks. She blinks, seemingly surprised that he knows her name. Yes, she says, "and you're Mark?" "Marcus." She nods absently and then looks to my rifle. I'm gonna try to keep her comforted, so, I don't want to, she's a woman, she's already rattled, so we're gonna go with, we want some answers. No, we're gonna go with, I'm not going to use it. "Now, how do I know that?" she asks. "You're trespassing on government property in the midst of a huge catastrophic event, and you have a rifle. How am I supposed to believe you?" "I have a friend back in the command center who needs medical attention," I say, "and we're looking for the rest of our crew." "I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are," she says. "Do you know what's happened?" Marcus asks. "From the power outage?" "I don't know what caused it," she says, "but there was an experiment taking place when the outage occurred. Something happened and..." She trails off here, giving me a look of distrust. "I saw things on the security monitors," Marcus says. "The experiment failed, didn't it?" "I don't know the specifics," Amy says. "I barely escaped the third floor. I was going to go to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, but then I saw you and the gun." Listening to their conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. Alright, so we can either go with what experiments or what had you so scared. I think... Excuse see here. We'll go with what experiments. Amy looks at me, her eyes wide and terrified. "Who are you anyway, she asks. I quickly give her my story, a logger stranded in the woods following a peculiar explosion at the logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her eyes. "You're one of the loggers?" "Yes." She then looks to Marcus and says, "I thought they were being watched." "They were," Marcus says. "This was a freak accident, and there's no proof that they were responsible." I feel myself wanting to submit to all of the questions that are piling up in my head, but Dennis is waiting for me. Ask about medical help for Dennis, or ask for more details. Well, let's show some concern for Dennis. I decide that, despite my curiosity, I need to get Dennis help as soon as humanly possible. "Look, is there any medical help to be had here or not?" I ask. "Probably," Amy says, "but you'd have to find Colonel Barksdale. He knows where all these sorts of supplies are." "And where is he? Where is everyone else?" I ask. At this, Amy starts to weep. She falls to her knees as if someone had struck her from behind. "Gone," she says. "Some were killed, and some were just... I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me." Disappeared? Or what the heck is going on here? We will go with... disappeared. Excuse me. "Yes," she answered. "They were here one second and gone the next. Just..." She snaps her fingers together for effect. "Gone." "Something's here with us," Amy says. "We were conducting an experiment, and it all went horribly wrong. Something came through." "Came through what?" Marcus asks. I don't even know that much. An entity. But whatever it is, it's still here somewhere," Amy responds. "How could you not know? Don't you have full security access?" I ask. "No, I have access to most everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance." "So what do you suggest we do now?" I ask. "I'm not sure," she says, wiping her tears away. "But if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge." "Where is he?" I ask. "Down on the 3rd level. In the hangar." "Then let's go," I say. "It's not that easy," Amy says, again looking to the rifle in my hands. "Why not?" "Like I said, something came through when the power went out. There's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level." Ooh. Oh man, doesn't matter. Let's move. What came through? I got the gun, I'm in charge as of now, so I could get these guys to move, but I'm so curious. What came through? All I know is that the others referred to them as entities. Amy shudders as she recalls the horrors she has seen. I don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look, she says. All I did was run for my life. Behind me I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but I didn't feel like sticking around to learn more. She's right, Marcus says, stopping my train of thought. The things I saw on the monitors, it was crazy. This is insane, I bark. I'm going to the 3rd level to find this Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus said. I'm sticking with you. If we want to get out of here, we've got to find Barksdale, right? Yes, Amy says. But Barksdale's on the 3rd floor and it's too dangerous to go back there. I figure I'll let them make their own decisions. In the meantime, I start heading back to the command center to get Dennis. Before I get there, I hear their footfalls behind me getting closer. I give Amy a questioning look and she quickly looks away, clearly torn. Neither one of you know your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide. Like it or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. Then let's get Dennis from the command center and head down together. Oh, guys, it's getting exciting. What's down there? What is it? Who knows? Is it gonna kill one of us? Oh my goodness. Might be some death coming soon. We enter the command center and I'm happy to see that Dennis has regained some of his color. That's good. We're going to get you some help, I tell him, and then we're going to find our crew and get the heck out of here. More help would be great, he says. With the way you took an hour to get my shirt off earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Wait, Amy says. Maybe one of us should stay here with him. I'll be okay, Dennis says. He stands to his feet with a grunt. Dennis is a trooper, man. Dennis is a tough guy. You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility is not safe. What can they do, or are there any of them on this floor? Good question. I just snapped my fingers there. I'm not sure, she says, but they are down on the 3rd floor, so we'll need to be careful. Marcus looks a little hesitant, but he nods his agreement, and the 4 of us exit the command center. Heading back out into the hallway, I look back to the monitors. I take a final look at the screen that shows my wrecked logging site and feel a pang of sorrow. Then I look to the other monitors showing live feeds of the facility's security cameras. I try to tell myself that I'm not looking for any signs of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing. And there's no need to pretend otherwise. We head back through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us is like a physical presence. Okay, here we go. Let's get down there. Let's get down there. Oh boy, the freaky elevator. We step inside the elevator and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to become much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her then I mean her no harm. But I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So you have pretty much high clearance in this place, right? I ask her. That's right. So what kind of experiment are we talking about? What went wrong? When she starts to answer my question, I can tell that it is something of a relief for her to get some of it off her chest. There's been a lot of work on a project taking place here over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out if there's any real viable science behind point-to-point instantiation, like teleporting, I ask. Oh my, Marcus says, I had no idea. I knew there was some weird stuff here, but nothing this insane. It's really not all that insane, Amy says. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. Oh, what? Okay, the trip took the rat 5 seconds. Are you kidding me? Dennis says. I can tell that he wants to sound as if he is mocking the idea, but he fails. He is scared. Not at all, Amy says. The problem was that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached and its intestines were on the outside of its body. Oh, well, that's not good. Not every day you see that. Alright, so did you ever perfect it? Or what does this have to do with us now? I'm curious if they ever did perfect it, because there's probably some kind of monsters with his intestines and stuff hanging out of its butt and walking around trying to kill us. Or it's tough decisions in this game, but it's a great game. But what does this have to do with us now? Well, we know what it has to do with us now. We're in danger from these things that possibly went wrong. So we'll ask if did you ever perfect it? Well, about 6 months ago, we successfully made that same experiment. The rat arrived in great health, and this time in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things that we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe was how to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter is being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together upon revival, unknit or transported? Unknit's more baffling. Yes, deconstructed and translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it right now. It's like Charlie and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with the little Mike TV guy. Let me get back in the story. Sorry, but the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the deconstructed subject on a straight course destination. And I finished. When the process occurs, we are deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space, and that has risks. Why exactly? Dennis asks. Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we can exist on, she explains. There's some evidence that there are as many as 10. So when you send the rat to New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get there. It's traveling to another dimension to get there, I ask. Basically, and because of that, we are trying to get a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. Things that a great deal of the population would be scared of if they knew what we were doing, hence all the privacy. Then today the power went out as we were right in the middle of an experiment. Something happened. What? I don't know. She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she's talking about. Is that why those creatures are here? Obviously. What have you seen in these dimensions? That's curious. I'm curious about that. Other worlds, other Tegmark universes where our laws of nature don't apply, she says, not bothering to explain what that means. I'm not cleared for such things, but I do get the reports. What reports? Marcus asks. I'm given access to the results of the tests. In other words, Marcus replies, clearly upset, you guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see. I can't believe I've wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. He looks like he's starting to freak out. Amy is quiet. Her expression indicates that she's waiting to see how I react to all this. You people are insane. That is incredible. You were impressed by Amy's work. So this is like interdimensional stuff, I ask. In a way, Amy answers. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he asks. All this time I've been working for... He laughs cruelly, and the sound of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. Just a single level beneath my feet. You, Bleep, have been tearing apart space and time. Marcus continues. When the elevator's doors open, I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside the elevator, we step out into what appears to be a massive industrial area. The carnage waiting for us is unlike anything I'd ever seen in the upper levels. Oh boy, here we go. Can't wait to hit that continue button now. Oh, there's lots of blood. There is very much blood. The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only, but more noticeably than that is all of the blood. I have never seen so much blood. Those creatures must have had a field day. Holy crap, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There were more personnel in this area when the experiment went haywire, Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get moving or we're going to lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Barksdale's in the hangar. Barksdale's in the hangar, I ask. If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better. But I'm beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floors, the silence of level 3, and Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. Alright, so Amy, shouldn't let Amy take the lead. It's probably not safe for her, even though she knows where she's going. So I'm going first, though, anyway, because I got the gun. I'll go first, stay behind me. The four of us start walking ahead, with me in the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks to be 3 different people. It is hard to tell how many bodies there were because they have been torn into shreds and are distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they have been fused together. Another man looks to have had his leg welded through the floor. I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror, his mouth pried open in an external scream. Well, I'm kind of getting an idea of what might have happened. Maybe that the experiment that went wrong somehow leaked out, or something happened where it got a lot of people, but it's just a guess. It got a lot of people all screwed up, disformed, but I'm gonna investigate the bodies or keep moving. Who cares? They're probably gross, they probably smell. I'm gonna walk away. It's simply too much. Worse than that is the fact that we have just started our journey to level 3. If there is worse waiting up ahead, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Dennis steps up beside me and then he speaks. His voice is soft and flat. What in the heck could do that to someone, he asks. The things I saw, Amy answers. They could do it pretty easily, I think. She looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes and she is visibly shaking. But she soldiers on, looking back to me and stepping to the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eyes again go to my rifle and she doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go? She asks me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. Well, man, they really want me to look around here, I think. Because it just gave me two opportunities, kind of. One to look at the bodies, and then one to look, or to keep moving, and then one to look around some more, or, yeah, let's go. But I'm going to look around some more. I've never seen so much blood before. What's even more sickening than the mayhem is the unnatural look of it. I'm familiar with blood splatter. I've hit a deer at 60 miles per hour on the interstate with a load of logs hooked behind me. But many of these bodies have somehow been gently pushed into the wall, through the floor, halfway inside a desk, dead. No explosive power, just squeezed and pressed like clay. Their faces contorted into screams trying to comprehend what was happening to them. Still, I managed to steady my nerves. I take a few deep breaths and I'm finally able to continue onward. We leave the grisly sight behind, moving into another equally destroyed area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't just been destroyed, it has been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. The girders look to have been warped, their very materials distorted and twisted. To my right, a machine has been catapulted and looks to have somehow merged with the wall rather than crashing into it. Beyond these phenomenon, there is the standard violence I was expecting to see. There is a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage and more blood. I see no signs of an explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. So did you see what happened to those girders, or did you see how these people died? I'm more concerned about the people. I only caught a glimpse of it, she says, taking a deep breath. I was closest to the exit, so I just started running. But it was like trying to focus your eye on something that was too close. People's bodies just started twisting and turning, and the thing that did this, it looked like... She doesn't finish. She's cut off by some sound echoing through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds almost like static from an AM radio, but there's a high-pitched noise beneath it that I can't even start to fathom. What in the heck is that, I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, Amy says, her voice a whisper. One of the creatures. That's what they sound like? Dennis asked. I see he's leaning against the wall again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot at the next thing I see. How far away you think they are? Anything between us and them? Let's go with anything between us and them. Not really, she says. None of the hallways are blocked off by secure doors. Everyone seems to take this as the cue to start moving again. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, goodness. We make our way around the office wreckage, now with new purpose in our step. Yeah, not to die. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching a dark hallway, when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one is louder, closer. It's wonderful, isn't it? This is a great game. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell that Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as we head toward the hallway in front of us. Can you kill those things, and how much further to the hangar? Well, it's probably a good idea to know if we can kill them. I don't know, Amy says. Dennis speaks up, his voice like ice. Then let's haul ass, huh? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing in on us like some new violent gravity. Oh boy, continue time. Can't wait. More blood. Man, if I was down here... Whew. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area, I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask this question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know, he replies by pointing to Amy. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy says, but at the end there's a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead and feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's impossible to see just how far the hall extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area we've come from. We continue further down, and just as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead, I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds farther away, but no less demonic. How many of these things did you see? Dennis asks Amy. 3. But that's just what I saw. There could be more. What did they look like? Dennis asks. Yeah, what are we dealing with? We're not going to talk about something else. I don't even know how to explain them, she says. Monsters. That's the only word I can think of. My mind seemed to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big, and they seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's about all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my work kill me. She continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out, angrier now. Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn to her. We have to do something to slow these things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves and get to the hangar fast. Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set into the wall right here, she says. It hasn't been used for years, though. She looks to me, pleading her case. Together we might be able to pull it closed behind us to keep those things back. Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting to us if these doors are locked. Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get to the hangar now. Get to the chopper. Oh, boy. Alright, so let's stop and close the doors first, or let's keep moving. Oh, just decisions. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. It's getting good. It's getting harder. What do I do, guys? I know you're not here, but what do I do? All you viewers. Oh, what would you do? What would you do? I would run. I would just run to the hangar door. I don't think I'd stop to mess with an old door. I just don't want anybody to get killed, though. I'm just... If we just sit there and waste time and it doesn't work, then somebody probably will end up getting killed. This may be a dumb decision, but I'm going to click it and see what happens. You decide to try to close the doors. Dang it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts feeling along the hallway for a groove. Dennis and I start looking as well. A minute passes and I see a small metal frame that runs from the floor to the ceiling. Is that it? I ask. Yes, Amy says. I look to the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's move it, I say. Amy, Dennis, and I start pulling as hard as we can, but it barely budges an inch. Behind us, that static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter, and Marcus lets out a little whine. We're running out of time. We need to go, Marcus screams. Those things are getting closer every second. This isn't working. Let's help us, Marcus. Real quick. Let's see if Marcus can help us. It won't make a difference, he says. Shut up and help us, and then we'll find out, I shout. Reluctantly, Marcus walks over and grabs the door. We all groan as we strain to pull. It starts inching slowly and then begins moving steadily. Once we get it started, it slides easily. As we near the wall, closing off the hallway behind us, I think we can see the merest glimpse of an odd, illuminated shape in the darkness. It's cut off by the slight thump of the hydraulic door being pushed against the frame in the opposite wall. Amy turns a lock into place. Great. Now let's haul ass, Marcus says. We all turn and get moving again, still feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And then there are two of them. It's almost like they are calling out to one another. The doors to the hangar sit up ahead, like the entrance to some enormous labyrinth. Continue right away. Let's go on with it. Let's keep it moving. Although it's a surprise, there's blood across the door. It looks like blood. When we reach the hangar doors, I get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby and has a blinking red light. Any idea what this means, I ask? It's an automatic lock. A failsafe from the lockdown, says Amy. I've never been down here before, Marcus says. If I had known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center, he says. You need to override from there first, then use this terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor, I ask? Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Are you kidding? She asks. We just pulled that hydraulic door and blocked off the hallway, remember? If we want to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the command center, Marcus says. Isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there is another elevator, but we'll need to go through biochem storage. I need to stay with Dennis so he can rest, I say. You two go. You know your way around this place. And you know the controls, Marcus. Fine, Marcus says, but we'll need to be armed. Oh, I don't know if I trust. Who do I trust? Who do I trust, guys? Amy or Marcus? Oh no, Amy's been eyeing that gun up like crazy. I do not trust Amy, but I did beat Marcus to a pulp. Oh, I just gotta choose. My gut is telling me to go with Amy, so Amy it is. You gave Amy the gun. I hand Amy the rifle when she turns to go. Marcus gives me a concerned look, but follows me along behind her. Once Amy and Marcus make a good distance down the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there were guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room near the hangar doors, I ask? Yeah, I think so, Dennis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead and see a door to the right that reads maintenance. How convenient. Might as well give it a try. I go to the door, try to open it, and find that it's locked. I'm gonna kick this thing down. Or push it with your shoulder, really. But it doesn't budge. I give it a frustrated kick, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again, but that's when I hear a gunshot from just down the hallway. My first thought that Amy and Marcus have come upon one of those things, one of the monsters, but I don't hear any of that strange static around. I've come to associate with them. I think I gave the gun to the wrong person. Alarm bells go off in my head, and before I know it, I'm heading back down the hall away from the hangar doors. Stay here, I'll be right back, I whisper over my shoulder to Dennis. See if you can figure out how to get into that maintenance room. Where are you going, he asks. I don't bother answering him as I bound through the door where Amy and Marcus went. Why did I give Amy the gun? Why, guys? Why? I don't trust her now. I shouldn't have trusted her with a gun. As I enter the biochem room and start walking between the massive silos, I wonder what classified chemicals would be inside of them. I'm fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out from the intersection of halls up ahead. I think I overhear a woman's voice. It's Amy. Stop. Let go of the gun. I run ahead so fast I almost trip over two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense, none at all. Marcus is wrestling with Amy, trying to take her gun away. When this doesn't work, he throws her to the ground and starts choking her. Her face is turning purple and her eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Marcus sees me coming out of the hallway, but acts as if what he is doing is perfectly normal. I don't trust her, so I'm just going to say, what the heck are you doing? I don't want to stop him. Marcus says nothing. He looks up to me with a confused sort of hate in his eyes. Through Amy's choking and the ice-like gaze in Marcus's eyes, it's clear that he is not going to stop until Amy is dead. Part of me wonders if he expects me to just stand there and watch, as if I might want to kill her too. I'm just going to go ahead and stop him. I start rushing towards him before I really know what I'm doing. I bring my fist down in a hard arc across the bridge of his nose and am rewarded with a sick cracking sound. He cries out as he falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches at her neck and gasps for breath. I start to fear that I was a moment too late, just as I see the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this at the exact moment that I do. So I can either hit him or go... I'm going to hit him because we both go for the rifle first. I mean, who knows who'll get it. I deliver a surprisingly strong blow with my right hand, clipping his chin from my awkward position. I'm in the process of planting a knee in his chest to hold him down when his left foot comes out of nowhere, landing hard. The kick catches me squarely in my ribs, knocking the breath out of me. What the heck are you doing? He yells at me. By killing her, I'm saving us. All of this was her fault. I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not just attack her when we're all together? The answer is simple. We might have stopped him. He wanted to kill her in private, and then what? What would he have done? Would he have done the same to Dennis and me? It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he'd held a gun on us. I'd been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both dive for the rifle, still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession. But I'm not confident I'll come away with it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun toward my face. a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard. But if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure where I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. Let's put force muzzle towards tanks, force muzzle toward Marcus. I grunt as I push the muzzle to point towards his face. Realizing he's literally looking down the barrel of a gun, Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around on him. For a moment I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks at me as if I betrayed him. Her people, he says. It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this. I look to Amy and wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see that she is managing to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself into a sitting position. You wouldn't know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under their secrecy. You don't know what it was like to. He surprises me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I don't have time to aim carefully. I have to react fast. I don't want to kill him. Do I dodge? This guy's really unstable. You know, look at the flowers, Marcus. Shoot him. I react before thinking. My muscles take over. My finger squeezes the trigger. The blast is deafening as I watch Marcus fall to the floor. A terrifying thought races through my mind. If some of those things are here and they didn't know we're here where we were before, they sure as heck know now. Marcus falls to the floor and I see right away that I shot him in the shoulder. His right arm dangles loosely, already covered in blood. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments I realize that they are not purely screams of pain. The beep is calling out for them, calling for those creatures to come for us. This place is evil, along with everyone involved. He wails from the floor. If you are taking her side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes at Amy, as well as towards me for stopping him, makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge in my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us. But I am not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and just leave him behind. Now this is a really big decision. Marcus is clearly unstable. Amy cannot be trusted. The only person I could trust is Dennis. I mean, we gotta kill him. I mean, just kill the dude. Just kill him. He decided to kill Marcus. I aim for his head and start to squeeze the trigger, but I can't complete the motion while I'm looking at him. I close my eyes tight and squeeze the trigger. The muzzle bursts and I hear Marcus crumple onto the floor. It's not for another 10 seconds or so that I realize I've been standing still, frozen with my eyes closed and my teeth clenched. I try to avoid looking at Marcus's body, but instead I lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. Have to go, she says, her voice raspy. They'll be here any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start forward and then I think of Dennis. We should go back to the hangar doors, I say. I can't just leave Dennis there. There's no time, Amy says. You need to come with me up to the command center now. We'll be back for him soon. I stare at Marcus's dead body for a moment, trying to comprehend the fact that my own hands caused him to die. It is a turning point in my life that I will never recover from, but there's no time to weigh it now. As I look at him, another high-pitched static sound rings out from elsewhere. It's louder, more ferocious. Amy takes off, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. As we move out, I look back once more at Marcus's body, motionless. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time it also reminds me of recordings I've heard of whale songs. A sound of a metallic creaking and crashing echoes through the door I came in through. They've reached the hydraulic door we pulled, Amy says, confirming what I'm thinking. The sound grows louder as it's clear. They're struggling with it. which is good. We have a bit more time. I speed up my step to follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breath, likely the result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how his cold, uncaring eyes must have looked staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she is still forging on is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. At least you handed me the gun. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. Gotta keep people's spirits up, you know? I mean, it's better than not saying anything. We'll be fine, don't worry. I'm not sure, she says, her eyes fixed straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I just had wanted to say something encouraging. I guess we finally come to the elevator at the end of a row of silos. The elevator doors slide open slowly. At that moment, we hear something behind us, a strangled sort of whistling sound. We step inside and turn around to face the biochem room. Thankfully, we've been given a few moments to spare. The elevator doors remain open for 3 seconds before they start to slide closed again. In those 3 seconds, I see a large shape floating towards us. A phosphorescent-like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moves with eerie speed. They are heading in the direction of Marcus's body. Honestly, the thought of them feasting on his corpse doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is pressing the button to close the elevator doors over and over, but they stay open for what seems like an eternity. I curse whoever designed these dang doors. Hide inside the elevator, stand in the doorway ready to shoot. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't go anywhere, I figured, so no use in hiding. I take a step and stand firm in the elevator doorway. I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I see them in a clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape, and their colors, but my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid, but that's not what these things are. They are gray and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on these appendages, but use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk every few feet or so, but I'm pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they are moving exactly. It's also more than their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. That peculiar effect on the air makes their movement seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush toward the elevator. They'll be inside here in another few seconds. I check the rifle and see that my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. I'm going to have to be choosy. Well, I'm thinking the doors are going to close, so I'm saving the ammo. Don't shoot, save ammo. You decided to conserve your ammo. They keep advancing. Even though I know the doors may not close in time, I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. My finger itches to pull the trigger, but I resist. I'm not even sure if a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall and elevator door, but for some reason they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle, hoping these creatures don't find Dennis as he waits by the hangar doors where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. Poor old Dennis again. Dennis gets left everywhere alone. Dennis gets it all. Whew. Marcus got his, but I'm not sure if we should have killed him. I don't know what you guys would have done, but let's take my... we're at the end of chapter 3. So let's take a look at my decision making against other players. That was good, though. It's getting really good, guys. I'm excited about this. We got 2 more chapters to go. Tomorrow we'll have the 4th one up. The blunt truth. You and 59% of players told Dennis he'd probably be fine. Slow them down. You and 35% of players sided with Amy on pulling the hydraulic door. It seemed to work, though. Who to trust? You and 69% of players gave the gun to Amy. That's right. Murder or mercy. You and 42% of players killed Marcus. Oh, don't make me feel bad, players. I'm in the lower percentage of people that killed Marcus. I'm a scumbag. Scumbag of the earth. Now or later. You and 68% of players conserved your bullets for later instead of shooting the creatures. So, guys, that's it for Chapter 3 today. Tomorrow I will be starting my video on Chapter 4. And it is getting very good. We've encountered the creatures. We've gotten down to the lower levels of this place. I believe 3rd level. Yeah. So we've seen a lot of blood, a lot of death, and we have lost we've lost a member of our group. So I mean, it happens to the best of us, but when you're in these survival situations. But maybe I didn't have to pull that trigger. So I just felt that Marcus was really going to lose it. So like I said, like I say before in all my videos, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Love you guys. I'll have another video of this up tomorrow, Chapter 4. Please subscribe, give the thumbs up, and I definitely want a lot of feedback down there, and share with your friends if you think they'll like this series. Just have a great time playing your video games, guys. Have a great time watching your YouTube videos, and just be safe out there. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for Chapter 4. Bye bye.